Have you ever wondered if your financial reality has less to do with your job or the economy and more to do with, well, the software that's running inside your own mind? Today, we're diving deep into a fascinating idea, one that connects ancient wisdom with modern brain science to unlock a secret about how wealth is really created. Let's get right into it. So, let's kick things off with a huge question. What is it that the wealthiest 1% of people seem to know that the rest of us don't? I mean, is it just about luck, a fancy education, or is it something else entirely? Something deeper, like a switch they flipped in their brains. As we're about to find out, the answer has way less to do with economics and a whole lot more to do with the nature of reality itself. All right, here's the core idea that pretty much changes the whole game. We're all taught to think of money as, paper or just numbers on a screen. But what if that's just its physical form? What if wealth is actually a type of energy, a specific frequency? Think of it like a radio. If your mind is tuned to the frequency of scarcity and lack, you literally cannot pick up the broadcast of abundance. It doesn't matter how hard you're trying to tune in. Now, I know what you might be thinking. A frequency? That sounds a little out there. But here's the thing. Modern neuroscience is totally catching up to this. See, your brain has this built-in filter, a kind of personal bouncer for your attention. It's called the reticular activating system, or RAS. Its job is to sift through the billions of bits of information flying at you every second and only show you what it thinks is important. And this is the part you really gotta get. The RAS doesn't show you what you consciously want. It shows you what you deeply, truly believe. It's a confirmation bias machine. You know how this works, right? You decide you want to buy a red car, and then bam, suddenly you see red cars everywhere. They were always there, of course, but now your RAS has flagged them as important. Well, the exact same thing happens with money. If your deep down belief is there are no good jobs out there, your RAS will work overtime to filter reality and show you nothing but evidence that you're right. It'll make you completely blind to the opportunities that might be sitting right under your nose. So where on earth do these deep beliefs even come from? Well, for almost all of us, that software was installed when we were kids. Little things we overheard our parents say, like, money doesn't grow on trees, or rich people are greedy. And psychology tells us that these phrases, they don't just vanish. Nope, they dig in deep into our subconscious, and they build these financial blocks, a totally invisible wall that our own brain's filter system then spends the rest of our lives trying to prove is real. You know what's crazy, though? This isn't some new age idea. We're talking thousands of years before we ever had brain scanners. Ancient Vedic texts in India laid this principle out perfectly. Yatha drishti tata srishti. It means, as is the vision, so is the creation. In other words, whatever your deepest perception of the world is, that's the world you will create and experience. It's a timeless truth. Our inner world literally builds our outer reality. And this is where things get really, really interesting. That ancient wisdom perfectly mirrors a fundamental concept in modern quantum physics called the observer effect. At the tiniest subatomic level, physicists found that the universe exists as just a sea of pure potential. It's the act of observing, of focusing our attention on it, that causes all that potential to collapse into one specific outcome, one specific particle, one reality. So when the Vedas said, as is the vision, so is the creation, they weren't just being philosophical. They were describing a fundamental law of the universe. Okay, I know what you're probably thinking right now. If it's all about my thoughts, why can't I just think positive and get rich, right? This is the massive trap. The exact reason most people try this stuff, fail, and then say it's all nonsense. It's because there's a huge battle going on inside your head. The problem has a name, cognitive dissonance. But forget the fancy term. Just imagine you're in a car. Your conscious mind, the part of you saying the affirmations, I am wealthy, I am abundant, is flooring the accelerator. But at the exact same time, your subconscious mind, the one that's been programmed for years with fear and doubt and is now screaming, yeah, right, how are we going to pay the rent, is slamming on the brake. Hard. So what happens? You just burn a ton of fuel, make a lot of noise, and go absolutely nowhere. So the real secret, the key to all of this, is that we have to stop trying to fight this battle on the surface. We need to get past the conscious mind's firewall. We need to bypass the security guard and rewrite the deep underlying programming of the subconscious itself. The million-dollar question is, how do we get admin access? How do we install a brand new operating system for wealth? Well, the answer is actually hidden in our own brainwaves. Science has identified this amazing brainwave state called the theta state. It's this beautiful state of deep relaxation where our critical, analytical mind just quiets down. It goes offline. And when it does, our subconscious becomes wide open, super suggestible, and ready for new information. You know who's in this state almost constantly? Little kids up to about age 7. Is the exact reason they can absorb languages and beliefs so effortlessly, like a sponge. And here is the secret weapon. Every single one of us naturally enters this powerful theta state twice a day. It happens like clockwork in that 20-minute window just as you're drifting off to sleep, and again in the 20 minutes right after you wake up. Think about it. During these magic hours, that logical part of your brain, the one that always says that's impossible or be realistic, is still sleepy. It's out of the way. This is the moment the door to your subconscious is completely unlocked. So, what do most of us do during these precious, fertile moments? We reach for our phones. We open up our highly receptive minds and just flood them with a fire hose of scary news headlines, arguments on social media, and pictures of other people's perfect lives. We are literally programming our subconscious with fear, anxiety, and a deep feeling of not enough. It's insane. It's like a farmer having the most fertile soil on Earth during the perfect planting season and choosing to sow it with toxic weeds. But just protecting this time and thinking a new thought isn't quite enough. There's another, much more powerful piece to this puzzle. Get this. Research from the HeartMath Institute discovered that the magnetic field generated by your heart is up to 5,000 times stronger than the field generated by your brain. The takeaway here is massive. The universe doesn't just respond to your thoughts, it responds to your vibration, your feeling. You have to feel the reality you want in your heart before it can ever show up in your life. So, how do we combine a thought and a powerful feeling into something tangible? Well, this leads us to the totally fascinating work of a Japanese scientist named Dr. Masaru Emoto. His experiments suggested that the actual molecular structure of water could be changed by human consciousness. He found that water exposed to feelings like love and gratitude formed these beautiful, perfect crystals when it was frozen. But water exposed to anger and fear, it formed ugly, distorted shapes. Now, whether you take that as literal science or just a powerful metaphor, it brings up an amazing question. If our feelings can do that to water in a glass, what can they do to the water that makes up 70% of our own bodies? This brings us to a really simple but incredibly powerful technique that ties all of this together. It's a water ritual. Right before you go to sleep, in that theta state window, you take a glass of water, you hold it in both hands, and then you close your eyes. Don't just think about what you want. Really feel it. Feel the joy of it, the relief, the deep gratitude as if it's already happened. And you project that pure, powerful feeling from your heart into the water. Then you drink it, knowing that you're programming every single cell in your body with this new reality. And you do the exact same thing the moment you wake up. What you're doing here is so much more than just a mental exercise. You are taking an invisible thought, you're charging it up with a powerful emotion from your heart, and you are embedding that combined frequency into a physical substance, the water. By drinking it, you're basically giving every cell in your body a new set of instructions. You are reprogramming your biology from the inside out to vibrate at the frequency of abundance. Now, it's really, really important to be realistic here. You're working to undo years, maybe decades of old negative programming. This is not a magic pill. A study from University College London found that it takes, on average, 56 days of doing something consistently to build a new, solid neural pathway in the brain. That's the point where a new belief starts to feel natural and automatic. So the real key here isn't trying super hard for one weekend. It's about gentle consistency. As the old saying goes, nature does not hurry, yet everything is accomplished. You can't plant a seed and then keep digging it up every morning to see if it's growing. You have to plant it, water it, and trust the process.
You just have to commit to this simple practice every night and every morning for at least those 56 days and see what happens.
Ultimately, everything we've talked about leads back to this incredibly empowering idea from the ancient Vedas, Aham Brahmasmi. It means, quite simply, I am the creator. It's a profound reminder that we are not just passengers in life. We are not victims of our circumstances. We are the architects of our own reality, and by consciously changing our inner world, our beliefs, our feelings, and our vibration, the outer world has no choice but to change with it. The only question left is, what reality will you choose to create tonight?